Thank you. Good afternoon, all. My name is Prashanti Bodugum, Head of Evernorth Health Services. It's a pleasure to be back in Hyderabad for me, personally, by the way. I've been traveling a little bit over the last 5 years, so it just feels to be good back here and also in the audience with Hyderabad. So thank you for that opportunity, Hysia and 3AI. I have about 2 decades plus of GCC industry experience in terms of establishing, leading, transforming GCCs or capability centers for very large organizations. And here at Evernorth, one of the things that we are doing, which is a pleasure to lead right now, is trying to accelerate what traditional GCCs used to be and how we can get to a competitive advantage, moving away from what used to be a traditional cost arbitrage models. This is a very passionate topic to me. Like as I said, since I've been here for more than 2 decades in this industry, it's an honor to be here talking to you about it, some of the examples, and also seeing live what Evernorth Health Services is going through as a journey. So we have seen this, GCCs right now, or the capability centers, are no longer a cost arbitrage model. We are seeing the new GCCs being set up as either innovation hubs or multifunctional centers or value creators. I just happened to hear Shailja, she was talking about how we are leading it with technology and also the talent pool that's kind of matured. And I'm sure there is so much more that we have to offer, which can accelerate what used to be the traditional journeys to what we are today. Typically, the year one has always been about cost arbitrage. But if we start thinking about being a little bit more creative and start thinking about assembling high-performing teams, and also from the experience that we have, setting up operational processes and the rigor, one of the key things that we can get a head start with is about how do we really win the customer confidence while growth and scalability is something that's, that happens naturally because of the ecosystem that we have. That's number one. That's all about year one. And year two typically has been about, or year two journey, I would say, has been more about 2 to 5 years in the past, but now it's been crunched to just being year 2 plus. To start delivering value. Now that you have the scale, how do you really start looking about delivering value? Therefore, what comes is all about leveraging advanced tech capabilities, AI, and start thinking about how do you really start owning end-to-end business problem and start delivering. And as you go through this journey, which is happening to us right now at Evernorth, is the demanding business needs, which is saying, hey, we have seen you, you're already doing it. How do you really now start thinking about having that accelerated path towards competitive advantage? We are about 15 months old, but then that problem is already in front of us right now. And as I see it, there are 4 key themes that keep coming up in this whole journey. What used to be very serial, you start with operational excellence and then start thinking about building capabilities and then moving on to business maturity, has now kind of taken a different spin altogether, and to create that flywheel effect in terms of year 2 or year 3 value has become very evident. And when we see all these 4, we have been hearing for a long time, and probably AI a little bit in the last 2 to 3 years. But then the other 3, talking about operational excellence or about building capability, which is where traditionally a lot of the captives or capability centers have been focusing on, took a longer journey. And now we are talking about crunching that, right? So to me, operational excellence is simple. It's a foundational value. It's all about how do we really start thinking of getting the basics right. And given the experience, one of the things that we are seeing, I'll give you a simple example. Given that we have been able to hire the best class talent, most of them come from this experience. Some of the things, simple things, right? Test regression is a biggest blocker when you start looking at it. We have teams who have really been able to address that within 3 months of joining the organization, because that's the knowledge that they bring to the table, and we've been able to deliver that value. Similar things on code coverage. Some things that we've heard in the ecosystem, it's about taking it and applying it with a new lens to a new capability center, has really started building a lot of optimism in terms of what more the capability center can do. Metrics that matter, that becomes very important to us. How do we really start taking some of these early examples of building a very solid baseline, so that as you go through the journey and get to a state where you're in a sustained mode, you are able to create those efficiencies, and this becomes a continuous improvement. Coming to capabilities, I think this is where most of the time is gone in terms of, do we really have the right operating models in place? Do we really know if India has the muscle or the capability center has the muscle to kind of lead global operating teams from the capability center? I think these questions still exist. While it's a proven model, what we have not been able to tap into is to instill that confidence that yes, there is a domain knowledge, and yes, we can leverage it, right? So how do we really start demonstrating it, especially when it comes to knowledge? Healthcare, again, Hyderabad is a great hub for healthcare knowledge, but then we continuously get into this mode of every capability center that comes in keeps asking the same question. How do we really build it? What do we do? I don't know if there is one answer to it, but as I'm going through this journey, it's the same thing about how do we solve this model, right? So likewise, as we do that, how do we get to the point where we evolve the business maturity model? I'll give you a simple example. Something that we are doing, digital is so, it's all over. We get the right talent. Taking that and going back and saying, hey, take a simple problem as simple as adoption of your digital products, and start looking at how do you really give the insights into behavioral blocks and also customer experience. And we took that up recently, and within 3 months, we went back to showcase to the business on some of the blocks and our value story around it. And we've been able to quickly turn it around, and that's been a huge win. But like as I said, we are able to do it because there is the ecosystem that's helping us get the talent and start day one, instead of waiting like year 4 or year 5. The last one, which is really making a big impact, is the overall advent of agentic AI. In the health services space, claims adjudication is something that manual claims adjudication is still a big problem in the industry. Something that the team has done is build an AI companion tool, which has been helping address most of the blocks that we have. A couple of our folks are going to talk later in the day, and they are going to talk through the example, a little bit more detail in terms of, what AI has done and how it has helped us in improving the overall adjudication process. As I summarize it, right, it's like, while we know that these are very important, while we know that this is all towards enterprise impact, I don't want to leave this room with few thoughts. One, GCCs are no longer about a geography anymore. It's all about the capability. It's all about how we are building that strategic impact and keeping that in front and center of everything that we are doing in towards building customer centricity. That's the number one point. And the second is about not about leading what the corporate wants you to do. It's about defining, not about doing what the corporate wants you to do, but defining and leading ahead of the enterprise, so that the enterprise starts seeing this as a revenue model and not about just a capability center. That's the second. And the third that I do want to leave you with is there is a lot in the ecosystem that's happening. And one thing we have yet to untap or take full advantage is all about the capability and how the ecosystem can come in terms of helping us solve some of the critical business problems. So I am looking at that ecosystem to be built, which helps solve the business problems so that we can advent in terms of our growth and sustain these capability centers that have been nourishing in India. With that, it's all about innovation, it's all about transformation, and I hope every one of you is thinking about it as you start thinking about how you can add value to your GCCs. Thank you.